Welcome, everybody, to episode 79 of Overdriven, the ODRL podcast. We are not joined this week by Bren. We can celebrate Hendrik. What up, Hendrik?
This would be a very peaceful, entertaining broadcast. No dummies. No dummies here tonight. This should be fun.
Be fun. He said, "I'm tired. I don't want to be at the podcast." He didn't want to talk about him spinning himself out at Echopark. He didn't want to talk about it at all. That's why he's dodging us on the podcast this week. He's dodging us. But we are joined tonight by the first-time winner, Salesman, premier winner, 88 car, drives from me. What up, Sales?
What's up?
Welcome. First off, let's talk about your known displeasure for plate racing, obviously. Mm-hmm. Did you have any inkling that you had a chance at that Echopark checkered flag?
Not really until like 10 to go. That was the only time I was like, we got a shot now. Once me and Sterlu hooked up, I think it was about 7 to go. We got a big time run. I think we were like running like 11th and 12th, I think. We shot up there. I got under Carrot, I believe, to be second in line on the outside. Sterlu followed behind me. And I pushed out Tata ahead, and then I took the bottom, and then I rode around there. And then all the cards came together. All the teammates and alliance members were up there, and Sterlu just wasn't going to get pushed by a teammate right there, so it worked out.
Yes, sir. Now let's talk about your history. What is your history of league racing on? Now, let's say starting in Heat 5, if you were there, or NASCAR 25. What's your history on league racing in general, and how did you become part of ODRL?
I ran a league. It was called Highline Racing. It had Cone was an admin in it. K-Therms ran it a lot. God, who else was in there? I think that was the only 2 premier guys, I want to say. K-Therms is the one who got me in here, really. He had been wanting me to run it for a while. But outside of that, I ran Heat 5 a good bit. I was on controller, though. Kind of sucked, honestly, compared to what I am now. But yeah, that's about it. That's about the only league I really ran other than that.
Interesting, very interesting. Well, I always heard good things about you from Lined or K-Therms. So it's great to have you here. Especially, I did sign you, so pat on my back, in my opinion. But going forward, is there a certain track you see in the schedule in the regular season that you're like, all right, that's the track that I have a 90% chance of doing really good or getting a second checkered flag?
Let me look at the schedule real quick. I would probably say if I had to pick one, it would probably be Sonoma.
Okay.
Go pretty good there. If I had to choose other than that, like oval, I'd probably go Iowa. Pretty good around there.
Very good. I know we had some nice podcast questions from the fellow drivers out here regarding you. So let me get to those. Question for Sales, somebody wrote, when joining ODRL, was there a certain person you knew was already in, or when you looked at the roster, said to yourself, this is a guy that I will have to be on point to beat him?
Cone, for sure. Cone whooped my ass a good amount of times, specifically at Dover. Always will. I think you quite literally lapped me one time at Dover. I was like, fuck this guy, you know? But yeah, that's the one guy, yeah.
Okay. Very funny. Let's see, I think we had another one. How does it feel to get a win this early in the season, where it means you get your first win for nearly formed 715 Motorsports with Mets and Georgia Dog?
I'd say it means a good bit, but honestly, there's a lot more work to do. I'm still fucking kind of somewhat buried in points. It's gonna be a dogfight for fucking 12th in points. I know there's a couple guys up there like Copper. He's got a good head start. I think what is he like plus 30 already at this point, if I'm not mistaken?
I let's see. I think he's, if I remember correctly, 12.
He's only plus 12
Yeah, it's only
to the
12
cut.
over Sterlo. Oh, to the cut?
Yeah, to the cut.
To the cut, yeah, 37.
Yeah, I mean that's fucking insane. That's a nice buffer for him. I'm still think back 8. I got a good shot at Texas this week. I'm just looking for points the rest of the way, honestly. But the win, yeah, it's nice. I really wish I would have got stage points. So that's the only thing. That's the only
Yeah,
thing.
one thing. It's the one thing you haven't been able to get the last for plate racing for.
I was in great position for stage 1, and then shenanigans happened at the end, and shit went haywire. Me and Shocks got screwed out of stage points there.
Yeah. It was definitely a tale of two tastes for you the last 2 weeks because obviously Talladega started out lap 3 of being 2 laps down, and then getting the checkered flag the second week at another plate track. So it's been definitely a roller coaster, 2 races.
Yeah.
What has been the difference like? Were you able to learn anything from the other drivers drafting wise while you were 2 laps down, just trying to get your bearings under you there and take it into this week, or did anything help you there?
Not really. I was kind of just hating my life for about an hour and a half there, honestly, just being point blank. I think I was riding around by myself half the time. Yeah, it wasn't fun. Didn't learn shit.
Yeah, well, and a lot of people in your scenario probably would have quit. So I give you a hats off to not
Well, the
giving up.
problem is I've seen a lot of these fuckers wreck a lot, like a lot of times they'll wreck, and then for some reason they just like, you know what, we're going to be the cleanest drivers of all time tonight. And then it was like, well, I'm fucked now. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, for some reason, I know we had some issues at Echopark with cautions, but for some reason when we have the harder criteria for cautions with the 2 around that we went back to, Premier just doesn't have a lot of cautions. It's very weird. I don't know what it is because there was like certain thing we changed it in the playoffs last season because Premier had such a good regular season where we had like average like 2 cautions a race, and then they went to then we let them have the 2 cars damage and 1 around rule, and they just started racking up some wrecks here and there, but it wasn't terrible. It was just hit or miss. So I definitely see your point about now they just started about being good. I was like, all right, especially when you have somebody like Cobra. I mean, he thought he was
God,
gonna.
the dirtiest driver of all time, if you ask me, Go-Bird.
There's a lot of
What-
people.
what-
A lot of people.
Speaking of Cobra, he just put in chat, sales, really, this guy?
Yeah, sorry,
what's this guy yapping about, dude? Just a yapper.
I just think he's in love with certain people. I think you're one
I think
of
he's
them.
in love with. I think he's in love with me, dude. I think he
Yeah.
also wants to be a part of 715. That's the biggest thing.
I can't talk about that as an owner, but
he wants to be a part of my team. He loves me that much. That's what I think. That's what it shows, at least his actions show.
action show. Yep, I can't talk about that, but
Just plead the fifth. Just plead the fifth. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, he's an interesting character. Very interesting the friendship that y'all have formed in recent weeks. It's very
If that's
interesting.
what you want to call it, you can.
Fascination or a Cobra fascination with sales, so you can call it. But Hendrik, do you have anything for our winner this week, question wise?
Let me see here. So, my question for you, since you said that it was going to be a dogfight for you to get into the top 12, I mean, I look at the list below the cut line, I see people like you, Carrot, NLS, Tyreek, Blue Star, Spartan. There's too many names below that list. But for you, considering you're only 8 points below the cut line, what would you describe your win at Echopark being last season if you had to pick one? Would you say it was more of a opportunity to get caught back up in the points, or would you say that was more of a long-term morale boost opportunity to where you think it's going to impact you for the rest of the regular season?
I would probably say it was just a really good points because if I didn't win that race and finish say 10th, I think I would be at least 25 points back. That's pretty tough to fucking make up at a track like you got Texas coming up, which I'm pretty good at, but Gateway right after, honestly, feel like I suck at. Then you got a couple more skill tracks, but I think the points was the major thing. 'Cause if I would have finished 10th in that race, I would have been like 25 points back or so, give or take.
Okay.
Very true, very true. That was definitely a clutch win in my opinion. So you said Sterlo was probably your biggest friend in that whole scenario, and then until he
Yeah,
got ganged up by the
yeah.
alliance members.
Yeah, Sterlu, I was inside of Sean there for a while. He went up top 3 wide, and Sterlu decided to push me. We got a massive run on the front stretch right there. Put me from like 10th all the way up to second in that one turn, in that one straightaway.
Very nice, very nice. Well, my friend, I definitely thank you for being here. I just want to say I'm happy that you're here. I know this is a little favoritism, a little bit, you being my driver, but I appreciate you being a part of ODRL. You are a definitely welcome member. I think with all the admins and all the drivers, excluding certain Cobra. Really like you as a driver. Really like you, respect you as a driver. And you have been a welcome addition to this premiere series. I know you had a interesting come up because you came into the series. You're expected to be NXT, and then showed enough to be like, all right, he belongs in premiere. So I think you did it the right way. Um, and I'm happy for that. I'm happy that you were able to show off your talent, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what you can do the rest of the season and be a nice little championship contender the rest of the way, and go for that regular season championship as well. So appreciate you being here. Really looking forward to it, and I'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. All
I
right, Hendrik, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna note real quick. I don't know how many times it's happened, but Cobra has reported the stream because of the presence of sales. I mean, what I would report the stream only because of Bren's presence, but
Yeah.
that one was new to see.
Listen,
I mean,
jealousy is jealousy, man.
he talked shit right before the race. He said his Sale's going to be able to go 3 laps down again, and then he comes up and he scrolls up. He has to scroll like bear in mind he has to scroll all the way up to first just to look at my name. You know what I mean? Just
Yep,
shows you
yep,
who's on top. You know what I
yep,
mean?
yep.
He's
Hey,
jealous. It's fine. I mean, it's understandable.
pure jealousy, pure jealousy. It's okay. I mean, it took him like 30 races to get his first win. It took you too, so
I
it
mean,
happens.
you can't hide talent. You know what I mean? Unlike the 11th car.
Yeah, sure. But appreciate you being here, and we'll be lucky to have you again.
Appreciate it, man. I'll see y'all.
All right, Hendrik. We will move on to your thoughts. I don't know if you were able to watch it because I know you didn't. You weren't able to qualify your way into the Charter 40. I don't know how much you were able to pay attention to the race in general, but what was your thoughts from what you heard about it and experience like?
I did get to see some of it from different perspectives. First off, I did see that fuel mileage played a factor for some at the very end of the race. I'm honestly not surprised by that one. I know Iron Man was one that was in that race, and he had issues with his fuel mileage. Another thing that I'm not really shocked about was seeing how much more aggressive the field became in the last 10 laps. Just seeing like all of these wrecks, it's taking out a lot of these guys. I know there was one big wreck that was surrounding the very front with Tate ahead and a couple others. But yeah, those last 10 laps it became a matter of who was going to have the best track position, who was going to be, in the preferred line, how the leader was going to react to certain things while leading the race. It was basically that kind of race at the end. And then Sales he was able to find his way up there and he got it. I mean,
Yeah.
That's all I can really say. I mean, that's typical, plate-like racing, just trying to put yourself in the right spot at the right time. But yeah, just seeing those factors were typical for an Atlanta race.
Yeah, it was a very interesting race in general. I really liked it. I know we had a lot. I think we had a little more cautions that I would have liked long term. But they were pretty much spaced out, which is what gave it a good feeling because it was like, all right, let's run 10 laps, and then somebody's losing the talent or losing the handling of the car, and something would happen, or a ghost car would happen, or something of issue would happen, and then a caution would wave. I think we only had one instance of a caution in the first 2 laps of a restart. So it wasn't big. I was very surprised with the fuel mileage into it that last run because I think we had the same run going in stage 2 with I think we had a 10 lap run to save in stage 2, and I don't think enough people like put it in their head about saving, which could have saved a caution there too. But then once everybody saw stage 3 and they said, okay, we can try to save this, let's back it off a little, back the pace off a little bit. And we're like, all right, let's save it. People stayed out, which really cost them because they didn't have the fuel mileage at all to save. I think 4 to 5 people stayed out, and it really cost them valuable time and valuable points because they were probably there. I think one of them, two of them actually pitted from the lead, if I'm not mistaken. So it was one of those issues as well. Um, but yeah, I was very surprised with it. I think 10 laps is a lot, in my opinion, to save. And it wasn't really much off pace, but with Atlanta being it's a plate track where you can let off more. And especially handling wise, you can let off more to help the handling more. It lent itself to being that many laps to get fuel and help themselves. But I enjoyed it for what it was. It wasn't a thing that was created by the admins. It was a times 2 race. It was a caution created of fuel mileage, and that's what we like on especially in these premier races. We don't want it. We want the drivers to influence the fuel mileage, not us. So that's one of the things we wanted to correct in the off season was more times 2 opportunities at these tracks. That instead of going into a race expecting one caution a stage, and then if that caution happens, then it eliminates the fuel mileage. We'll just go into a race with no fuel mileage, and then if a caution happens, then fuel mileage can happen, and that's their issue, not really an admin issue. But very very nice sales, definitely earned it. I think I enjoyed watching the onboards from that. Bren, I believe, got taken out by the 99 car. I believe it was 99 car. It might have been 91 car. I believe it was. And so it was a checkup issue gone wrong. Then obviously Brand spun out into pit road area. Didn't get a caution for it. Was definitely upset about that. Definitely cost him the rest of the race. And did not get the good finish he ultimately deserved, in my opinion, but it happens. But let's move on. I think Premiere was a great race. I think everybody kind of agreed it was all a great race on the good race chat, which I was very, very surprised about. NXT did not have a good race whatsoever. It was definitely a wreck fest. You were part of it as well, being in the race. We won't go in far into it. Just was a lackluster NXT race, not very good on everybody's front. I gave them my peace of mind. I'm not going to try to berate them here. It's a plate race 2 weeks in a row. Let's get their feet wet, get the car under you. Let's figure it out. Figure out the car before we start having to cut rosters, and figure it out. So, what was your opinion on your side of the NXT Atlanta race?
Well, besides the issues with the steering wheel,
Think about that.
I feel like for the most part, if you were like in the top, like maybe 7 to 9, you weren't going to have any issues because I mean you were ahead of that giant field that there was. But at the same time, when you're stuck in the back, it's harder to climb up through the field without having to go through a similar like issue like crashing, because it just feels like you just don't have that many options. And that was basically a summary for me for a portion of that race, just not being able to get up to the front because there's always accidents happening ahead of you, and you just can't avoid it because it's already gotten too big of a mess. Um, fortunately for me, I did get a little bit of luck in the final stage. I was in the back before that last run, and I somehow found myself in the top 10. So that was the only good part for me. But yeah, just trying to still get some of the kinks with the wheel. I know there was a wreck in the stage where I was trying to get my car to respawn in time, but I guess apparently you have to be much slower for it to actually work.
Yeah.
My honest opinion, I mean, that wasn't even the worst instance for me in that race. There is definitely one that is more funnier from what would be y'all's perspectives. I won't get into that one though. Yeah,
Okay.
that's my opinion of it.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, it wasn't the greatest one. I won't get too far deep in. Shout out to Polish for getting the W. Got his first NXT win after a week of getting the truck win, going down and quote unquote bushwhacking the truck field. But he earned it. It was one of the better plate racers that we've come to know in ODRL Graboid package days. And very interesting to see him get how he does going into these other type of tracks and seeing if he can grow this points lead that he has in NXT and continue his hot winning streak, weekly winning streak. But we'll move on. Trucks was definitely an adventure. It was a good race in general. We didn't have no cautions for first two stages at all. Stage 3 had a couple instances of um, the leader getting loose or getting turned a little bit in the wrong area, going into the infield wall and coming back on track, which causing a big one. Had another instance where aggressive driver, won't say any names, was lack of driving skill, not needing to be up there, and causing a big one when nobody deserved that. Um, but very good race in general. Very good race. 3 cautions. That's all they had. It was very good for, especially for being 33 people in a truck series. Little instances here and there. 4 to go. I think there was a big one happening. 4 to go caused a little instance there, but I'm not gonna harp on about that. But very good overall. Who won the trucks race? I forgot.
Polish
No, Polish
or
won
iTrip?
NXT. iTrip, that's right. iTrip won it. Shout out iTrip on his hot not winning streak, but his showing at the early in the season, because we knew he was going to come into the season with high expectations, being a former Premier driver and getting used to this game, and starting fresh at the Truck Series. So definitely going to be interesting to see what he can do. But very good race overall. I think SRG probably had the best plate truck. A lot of help from him, and we obviously know quote unquote plate god, people like to call him now. Iron Man. I always call him the Pied Piper, as Dale Jr. used to be called the Pied Piper of these plate races. In real life, I call Iron Man the same thing, but people call him plate god. Um, hasn't had the luck. He hasn't had the luck or finishing results. He's in these plate races at the beginning of the season. I think he's been in. Let's see, been in 3 this weekend, 2 last weekend, I do believe.
Yeah,
So
trucks and
5.
NXT
So
for
5 and
Daigle for
hasn't been
sure.
5 and hasn't finished. I don't think above 20th. He might have. Where did he finish in the Premier race? Oh yeah, he parked it. So I don't think he even finished above 20th in that either. So he hasn't had the luck there, but let's see what he can do. We know what he can do on these other tracks as well. So he's in a hole right now, but he'll get it. He'll get it going. But yeah, he was up there as well. Holy as well. We obviously know Holy's history at plate tracks, was doing really good up there as well. And then Georgia Dog was there as well. So it was very interesting. Very interesting race. Polish, I think, was there as well. Polish led a lot of laps in the trucks again. So it's going to be very interesting to see. Now we get away from these plate races and onto the technical tracks. I like to call it. I don't like to call them real tracks like people call them, but I call them more technical tracks, more technically sound, more handling, more. It's gonna be fun the next couple of weeks. I know we have an off week, but it's gonna be fun for Texas. I do believe. Let's get into some podcast questions. Unless you have anything to say about the trucks or anything else with the NXT race.
Not that I can think of.
Okay. All right. All right. Let's go some podcast questions. There were some actually good ones here this week. Sales got some questions. We gave it to him. Somebody asked if we would consider expanding our social media presence if you had manpower to do so as to make weekly recap videos on YouTube and Instagram or TikTok. I think the next plan is to get to Instagram. I think I'm talking to Stein in the future with that. The one thing I want is videos, but it's really hard to do that without broadcasting. I really want to, when that comes around, I really want to put an emphasis on getting Hendrick's videos out there to the masses. Let's, not saying we're gonna go viral on TikTok or anything like that, because TikTok's also in play as well. We saw how Hendrick Camo and Bren, I believe it was all three of you for the brand going pretty viral for that TikTok clip at Daytona in the Grab Boy package. One of those final races at Daytona in Heat 5. So yeah, looking forward to that. I think you even had said you had some stuff in mind for yourself to help yourself get some traction as well.
I will say if broadcasting does come back for NASCAR 26, I definitely have very big plans.
Yeah.
For having this league in the fold. And honestly, I mean, depending on even how things go, it could bring more than just this league into the fold. But yeah, at least for my side of things, yeah, if broadcasting comes back, things will definitely take a huge shift.
Agreed. I think I've done better. I've embraced AI the last couple months. I've been anti AI for a lot of time, but I've embraced it for lately. When it comes to the Twitter/X content, I like to like spice the things up there. Get some nice little graphics up there. Doing the stages weekly, graphic wise. Doing the previous winner, race day post with a little nice picture of a previous real life race in the background. So I've been doing those weekly. I plan to do those weekly. Yeah, but just really standing still and getting my feet back under me with that, being consistent with that going forward. And then once Bob Procast coming back to play, we'll get a nice little order with that and be able to broadcast that more and advertise Hendrick stream or whoever's streaming with Hendrick, or when Hendrick is maybe still in a car and he's not racing for a week, get that person involved. I know NLS has reached out to be a part of that, as well as Bren. Continue to do that. Camo, I think, will be back with that. And then, maybe adding stuff to the podcast as well, graphic wise as well. I know It's All has brought that up to me as well. So, a slow process. We're really building off. The plan was this game was really building off our infrastructure when it came to racing, and then getting back to broadcasting to the masses and showing what ODRL is all about competition-wise, and showing us off and being what I expect us to be in the long run, is that probably the top league, our competitive league on Xbox, and be able to advertise our drivers and push them to the front, especially if, I know a lot of people like to broadcast themselves, getting camera shots of themselves and all that stuff. So it's going to be very interesting in the coming months, especially when we get news that broadcasting will be back in the future games. Let's see, what else? Here's a good question for you, Hendrick. I debated this with somebody else too today. Who is more on the HVM Premier hot seat, Bren or Parker?
Oh man, I gotta look at points. I know Bren's not even in the top think he's like maybe 21st. I'll have to look. He's
Yeah.
20th. Between him and Parker, I mean, Parker has been talking about wanting to go down a series.
Hmm.
So if he does get that, demotion that he was talking about, then Bren would be the one on the hot seat. And I mean, plus Bren's lower than him in points. So I say Bren on the hot seat, but solely because I think Parker will get his wish of getting demoted a series to where he can improve and he'll still be on the team.
Yeah, I could see that. I wouldn't wish it on them. I don't want to see anybody get demoted from that team. I think they are who they are, and they're still building. I mean the same guys won the team championship last year by like 30 points. So, you know, two play tracks is not going to overwhelm me about who deserves a demotion or not. A couple of bad lucks here and there, it's fine. They had a nice strong strategy at Talladega in week one. Not so much in week two when it came to team orders and stuff like that. But obviously, we know Sterlo was up there at the top too. Um, but I don't really think either of them are really on a technical hot seat. You could see Parker, as you said, get demoted on his wishes. I don't really know if anybody wants to get demoted until you see NXT clean its act up and get some green flag racing back. Until people see that, they're like, why would I go down there? I can more green flag racing and Premiere than pacing at 70 miles per hour in NXT. Until until they can guarantee, put the confidence into NXT to get some green flag racing, which I believe they will. Um, but I don't know if there's a hot seat for them. I think Brand would be my leading candidate, just because I think he can be a headache off the track as well for them, and you know, see if they. Plus, there's anybody. I don't know if there's anybody to like be better to replace them. Like, do you? There's nobody like off the top of my head in the league to replace them in one of those cars. You would have to look outside the league, and I don't know if anybody outside the league would be better than those two, in my opinion. I mean, I know that's glazing them both, but I just don't know if anybody's better than them to be put in that ride. That's just my honest opinion. Um, I know Parker's getting used to a wheel as well, so I think let's see what he does at Texas before we start big time judging him. But our final question of the podcast questions. This is a tough one. I don't know. I'll give. Who are the smartest drivers at NoDRL? I'm not gonna die. I'm not gonna bash anybody here being dumb drivers. But who in your opinion who is the smartest drivers?
I'm gonna say NLS is one.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like he knows a lot about what he's doing while he's in the middle of the race. His awareness has been there, a lot more visibly than others. And plus, he has been known for getting some fuel strategies and pit strategies in well and executing them. So that's definitely one. Besides the Sonoma NXT race, I mean, that's a good candidate. I would also make the argument for Valley Racing. He has done a lot of very unusual pitting calls. I know we've seen a couple of them last season, and
Yeah.
he just ended up storming through everybody once he did those, and he blew everyone out of the water. So I don't know how he did that, but the plans that he's came up with in the past have been very unusual but very effective. So if it were me, I would go with those two.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you, especially on Valley. I think the only thing keeping NLS from being quote unquote smartest driver, I think his aggression tends to rub some the wrong way, and it can be take away from that. for being quote unquote smartest driver, but I agree with you when it comes to, strategy wise. I think Cobra's up there as well. I know Sales doesn't want to hear that. I think Cobra's up there, Stein as well. They know how to go into a race with a game plan. I think Sterlo is one of them too. I think quietly he doesn't talk about it a lot. I'm not really in those talks with him a lot when it comes to strategy wise. But I know he's the leader of that HVM camp, and strategy wise, they know how to come up with a working strategy and, you know, add it to it, add to everybody getting great with it and working it, bringing it to a Monday or Sunday race. Yeah, nobody really else stands out to me. Obviously Iron Man, admin, team owner. Yeah, but nobody really else. I'm not gonna say Trucks has one that stands out to me or NXT right now. Uh, but really just focusing on Premier smartest drivers. Yeah, all they NLS stands out, Bally stands out. All of them stand out in my opinion. We have a lot of smart drivers. It's a lot of smart. Just who can handle their aggression and think about long run more than making some dud moves in the beginning. It's pretty much my opinion. But we're gonna move on to our picks for the week on our little Texas preview. We didn't race here last year with Premier. Had a race here in NXT while in Cup cars. So that's really the only experience we have. And then Trucks raced here as well last season. So what's your opinion on this track? Going into this big weekend before our off week.
Well, first off, for the trucks, that's going to be unique to see. I wish Texas was on the schedule last season for trucks.
It was.
Oh, it was. Huh.
Yeah.
Well, I don't remember.
Sorry. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. I'm sorry. You're right. It wasn't.
Okay.
It was a preseason race.
But I think one thing that we will see, at least for the trucks at Texas, I think specifically is going to be how tricky it will be for some trucks to have entries. I'll say specifically in the turn 1, because it feels like turns 1 and 2, like it's like a vacuum. Like you get dragged up to that outside wall, so I'm curious to see who's willing to make the huge adjustments to try and make their cars looser. But at the same time, the entry is such a big part of turns 1 and 2, because if you don't enter it in perfectly, or if you want to try and enter it in a little bit lower and you don't do it well, you're going to go up the track and it's probably going to cause an issue. So that's what I see for the trucks this week. And then for NXT, with the Xfinity cars, now that I think about it, I thought that I could be wrong on it. I thought the NXT guys did Xfinity cars last season for Texas.
They did they had the preseason. Remember, I now I remember. It was a preseason. We had a preseason Texas for all 3 series because Premier wasn't going to Texas, and neither was Trucks. So we did a preseason test at Texas, and then that's when NXT had the Xfinity cars, and they weren't great in the Xfinity cars, and we had a wreck fest in the NXT preseason, and I made them do the same race back to back the next week, and they did much better the second time around. But then we moved into then we had the Xfinity cars, and then they were going to go there during the season. But then we moved to Cup cars, and I kept Texas on the schedule instead of going to. We didn't go to Indianapolis. That's what NXT didn't go to Indianapolis. We stayed at Texas that week.
Okay.
So yeah, that was that. Yeah. So yeah, NXT was the only one who had a points race at Texas last season. So it's going to be very interesting. I think it's one of the surprisingly, it's the better mile-and-a-half tracks in the game. A lot of people have grown to like it. I know when we made the schedule last season, we kind of made it into like the real life tracks. What like real life tracks would be good in playoffs, would be good, and Texas was one of the ones that we left off. Not knowing all the tracks that we wanted to have are pretty much high lane dominant. Texas is pretty much the opposite. It's pretty multi-groove on the bottom, just like a Charlotte. And it can be really help. It's still draft dependent. So once you get a pit stops, you can separate more and see who stands out there. One thing you got to worry about, obviously, turn 4, when you have those bad tires, it can be really loose. But as you said, turn 1, entering turn 2 can be a headache. You got to really throttle control there. It's really, when do you get on the throttle? When do you let off the throttle? And watch out for that wall, because it can be an issue. And then obviously Xfinity cars are gonna really have to not be so loose. That's one of the issues we had in that preseason race. They set that car up to be way too loose and just could not handle it and keep the car on them. So they're gonna have to get those cars right and not set up for the long run and not the short run. But I'm looking forward to it. I really am. I think Premier's gonna have a great race. I think NXT will have a good race. And then Trucks, I think, is going to have probably one of the better races they have in a while. Just known they had a really good preseason test there too from last season, entering the season. So I'm really looking forward to it. It should be really fun. I don't know who really stands out since we haven't been there. Tyreek, I think Tyreek won the NXT race and Cup cars, so I think he's pretty good there. All-Star Elite ran there in a main event a couple weeks ago in Cup cars. I think Cobra, Carrot State, I think they stood out there. And had a good run there, if I'm not mistaken. I don't. They might not have won it. I forgot who won it off the top of my head, but it should be a fun one. I really enjoyed this one, a mile and a half track, and I think it's gonna benefit Premier to go there and get their feet wet under these technical tracks. But we'll start with trucks. We'll bring in Boy in here as well for the Premier side of things. So if he can hear me, make sure he's ready for those Premier picks. We do have Brent's picks as well. We'll wait for him. We'll wait for our picks to be announced first before we announce his. But who do you have for your trucks main pick, and who's your dark horse for trucks?
Okay, I'm going to look at Bryn's picks real quick. Okay, so I'm not going to say those two names. For my dark horse, I'm going to go on ahead. This may be a controversial one for some. I'm going to pick Cypress.
Okay.
I think now that the restrictor plates are in the rearview mirror, I think we're finally going to start seeing those longer green flag runs. Who's going to be able to show more raw speed? And I think Cypress could be one that ultimately does have that long run speed. And plus, his season hasn't been off to the best of starts. He's 18th in points. This race could really be a benefactor for him to get back to closer to the cut line. So that's my dark horse pick. And then for my primary pick this week, and honestly, from what I hear, could be a week where we'll see some roster shifts. I think the one guy that I have to mention is EXO. I know he likes being in the truck series, but you won a championship and you have been one of the better guys in the truck series. And I think this will be arguably the race where he shows that he's capable of at least getting promoted to the series. I think EXO will be a contender on Saturday.
Okay. So you go on Cypress with your dark horse, and then EXO with your main pick?
Yep.
10-4, 10-4. I'm going to go look at his thing as well so we don't pick the same thing. The one time when he gets to pick the, what's it called, the picks written down, it's kind of a cheat code.
Yeah.
But he's going to go, okay, not bad. They're not bad picks, so they're not taking away my picks. I'm going to go... Who am I going to go? I'm going to go Georgia Dog for my main pick. I know it's a homer, but it's first. What's it called? It's the first main technical track. It's very, he won Vegas last season, so he's in the realm of that. Georgia Dog, my main pick, and then my dark horse is going to be. Okay, this might be 2 homer picks in a row. I think I'm going Doc with my dark horse, and then Georgia Dog with my main pick for trucks. If that's okay. Unless you feel like those are 2 main pick guys, but
No, that's fine.
yeah, but Brent's going with Holy for his main pick, and his dark horse is going to be Cowboy Tech, which I definitely agree. Shout out to Cowboy Tech. Had a great race at Atlanta last week, and his bad luck needs to turn around. I think he is getting it from last week. So happy that he was able to lead a lot and get up there in that main pack. And I think he just fell outside the top 10 at the end of it, or 10th, I do believe, is where he finished. But let's move on to NXT. Texas, who do you have for your main pick, and who was your dark horse? Unless you went dark horse first, like you did last time.
By the way, did you mention Brent's picks?
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
Okay.
he's got Holy and Cowboy Tech.
Okay. All right. So for NXT, damn it, Brent stole one of my picks for NXT, so that's a bummer. But that's okay. I had a backup plan in mind. For my primary pick this week, actually, yeah. For my primary pick this week, I'm going to take the guy who finished runner-up last season for NXT. I'm going to go with AMC Kittrick. He's below the cut line right now, but he's one of the first ones below the cut line. He nearly won at that NXT race last season. I think only Tyreek got away from him. But AMC does really well at some of the 1.5-mile tracks, and Texas was one that's towards the top of that list. So I think now with Tyreek not being in that series, and now that he, has that confidence of running well at Texas, I think he ends up getting the win there. And then for my dark horse pick, again, I would say him, but I don't know if that is a dark horse pick or not.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I know it's early in the season, so it's not. We don't really know what a dark horse is compared to what a main pick is.
I'm going to go with Impact as my dark horse because considering the fact that he's 29th in points, that's kind of unusual for him. I think that this will be the week where he finally gets it back in the other direction.
Yep, I think you're sharing a pick with Brand being that's his main pick. I definitely agree with you both. I think he's got to turn it around. This is where to turn it around at. He's really got to turn it around. I think plate racing has not been his friend the last 2 weeks, and let's just see what he can turn around in his drive for a championship this season, being his little in the solo car. But yeah, I'm gonna go. My main pick is going to be Iron Man. I just think he needs to turn around here, and I think this is one of his strong suits. Tracks where he can spread his wings and get to where he needs to be for the season. And then my dark horse is going to be tough one here. My dark horse is going to be. I'm gonna say T Stone is my dark horse. He was my dark horse a lot last, and I might think I might have picked him this season already as well as a dark horse. But I think he's just a couple things away from getting right in this series. If it stays green, I think he has a better chance, and I think hopefully he can get it done. But Bren has picked Impact, as I said, for his main pick, and then dark horse is Hendrick himself. Hendrick, he's picked you. Hopefully he doesn't mush you in that pick. But I think he can get it done. I think he can get it done. Get that wheel, figure it out, and I think he can get it done. But let's move on to the little main event here and premiere. Race number 3, Texas. The big guys here. How do you feel this is gonna go? How do you feel the picking the winner here? It's a tough roster this season. A very tough roster. This is the track. It's gonna really separate the pretenders and the contenders, and really show what people can do, and really see what the roster is really made of. So who do you got for Premier Texas? Main pick and dark horse.
Good question. So I'm gonna base it off of NXT as well. I will say off the rip, we did do a preseason race for Premier as well at Texas. But for my dark horse, I'm gonna go Tyreek. He's 22nd in points, but he did win the NXT race last season with the
Mm-hmm.
Cup cars. So if that means anything, I think Tyreek will be on the way to arguably his best run so far this season. And then for my primary pick this week, go on ahead and get me Serlo. I know he did
Okay.
really good in the preseason race last season for Premier. And then in terms of the third race of the season, which I'm still trying to look up the race results for that one last season. In terms of what I can remember, I do think that he was a contender for that one as well. I'm trying to look for it. I don't know if the schedule got removed or something
For
like
what?
that.
What are you looking for?
I'm looking for the Texas. Oh no, never mind. Texas wasn't even on the schedule. I was looking at this
Yeah.
season. Okay. So yeah, in my opinion, Sterlo, in the preseason race, from what I had saw, he was a top 3 guy. And I think with him being so high up in points, it's about time someone very high in the point standings gets a win, and I think it's going to be Sterlo.
Very true. Very true. That's a good one. It's a great pick. I'm gonna go Stein for my main pick here. And then I'm gonna go Spartan for my dark horse pick here. The two people who showed up at the last season preseason test. Stein won the preseason test here. Spartan was I believe a runner-up or top 3 that test, and I think Spartan really, really needs to turn it around. Um, I think he's what 30th in points, 25th in points, something like that. Not a very good 2 races to start off with. A lot of bad luck, a lot of inconsistency run for him. But let's see what he can do at a Texas back to where he got some good racing in for himself in that preseason. But I think he's got to turn it around here, in my opinion, to get that seat off the hot seat off. But yeah, that's Brandon pick. Let's see Brand's picks. Oh, I'm sorry, Insolable, you there?
Yes, sir.
Who is your producer pick for Premiere?
Man, it's actually a pretty hard one because, I mean, Texas drives a lot different than most mile and a halves that we raced at last season. And now that people learned the game and stuff, it's going to be a little different. But I'm going to take a little bit of a gamble. I say give me Bryn. I think he's going to get it
Okay.
done. He's going to find some kind of luck, some kind of strategy because that's all he ever does is strategize, and it's going to work for him.
Okay, I like the pick. All right. His picks. Thinking of Brand's picks was Sales, our winner from last week. He thinks he can go back to back, and his dark horse is Parker and Yoshi Racing. So it's going to be very, very interesting picks this week, and it should be very interesting. I'm really looking forward to this race. I hate that we get to Texas and then having a bye week after that. But it's just nice to 3 weeks to get your feet wet and then have an off week for I believe it was Memorial Day. Um, and then getting the season right. And I think NXT and Trucks has 2 weeks off. So that kind of hinders their beginning of their season. But Premier could get 1 week off and then go back at it at Gateway before we go to Charlotte. But yep, that's our podcast for the night. Appreciate everybody listening. Appreciate Installable for producing it as always. Shout out to Sales for a great interview, and shout out for the winners this week. Polish is a winner, iTrip winning, and then Sales obviously winning for Premiere. So appreciate everybody showing up. NXT got to get right. Trucks was really good in a step of direction. Expect them to continue that at Texas and Premiere. To do their great things and the Premiere side of things at Texas as well. So it should be a fun week. Catch everybody on their I'm sure you can find them if you haven't found them already. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification. Don't forget to watch it on. Thank you for everybody watching on replay as well. And thank you to Hendrik for showing up as well. I think he had a issue leaving. Is he back? He's back.
Yeah. I'm back.
Okay. So shout out Hendrik for being here as well. Bran couldn't face the music for his spending into pit road Monday. Didn't want to face the consequences and talk about it. He probably was too tired, and probably crying himself to sleep tonight, having a relive that experience at Echopark. I'm only kidding, Bran. If you're watching on replay, but you probably
Are you fucking serious, Bren? What the fuck are you doing?
Exactly. Thank you for the soundboard there. But shout out everybody. We'll be back next week for I believe episode 80. Yep, episode big milestone for us as well. Previewing not preview next week, but we'll talk about a review of Texas weekend and see if any issues or good things happen this weekend. So shout out everybody, thanks for watching, and see y'all next week.